Yeah. Oh, the postdoc is always an option.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Did you find anything that was like surprising to you about the fandom, about the trends, about how the fandom interacts through your research?
I don't think I was surprised. I knew I knew coming into it that there was like a certain level of power and impact with the fandom. I think it's to the like what level. That's what I didn't know. And so if anything, it was more shocking in a good way just to see like it was exceeding my expectations. I mean, like for instance, again, I mean, in tracking worldwide trends, I couldn't believe how many they create every month. Like it's so fascinating to me. And and again, like I knew how global of an impact Army and BTS had, but seeing it like on the maps, for instance, like that was the first time it like really hit me. And so like those little moments kind of help to shape my perception of that impact. And again, which is why like data like that is so important, because we think to ourselves like, yeah, we know that they have an impact and they're that big, but like just how big and how impactful are they, like I don't know. But then being able to see that data is just like in your mind, it's so mind-blowing, like even bigger than you would think. So yeah, not surprised, but again, it's definitely exceeded a lot of my expectations, because it still continues to, it keeps growing and getting bigger in the fandom, and like they keep breaking records that I don't think that they're going to break anymore, and it just keeps going and going. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, is it just going to keep going, or is there going to be like this threshold where they're like, okay, like, and I mean, we're going to start seeing it too, right? Like as armies and continue to do all of these things, it's helping to transform like a lot of like systems, especially on social media. So I'm curious to see if platforms like, I mean, like YouTube, for instance, which I know there's a lot of like issues there, like are there going to be new changes to it to make sure that they keep track of these views better? I don't know. Is Spotify and those music platforms, are they going to start shifting a little bit based on I mean, because when you look at like armies, they stream things so much and at like such a big pace, like they're competing against themselves at this point, which is interesting. And so I have a feeling that different organizations and social platforms are going to start looking at the way they measure these types of metrics just based on that. But I don't know, I see that as a good thing though.
I wouldn't be surprised if like Spotify doesn't put BTS on like playlists, because we stream so much, because
Yeah,
they want to like they grade it on a curve and they want to like
sure.
fix it a bit so it won't be so dramatic when BTS are the most streamed group.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I mean, like I said, it is quite fascinating. Like they're competing against themselves at this point. And we're not really seeing anyone else kind of like touch those records. I mean, every once in a while, like maybe, but then Army comes back and breaks those records again. So it's like it's kind of this cycle. So I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I just see it as platforms shaping and transforming due to Army's impact. So I think that has a lot to say on a good note of what Army's doing in terms of those platforms. So
We saw YouTube making dramatic changes with
yeah,
streaming and how they measure it.
yeah,
How good that algorithm is remains to be questionable.
yeah. I have no idea.
Yeah, but it
No
would
idea.
be really interesting to see how social media develops in the upcoming years. Because, like we said, like 15 years ago, there wasn't. It was just starting. Like Facebook
Yeah,
was just coming up. It wasn't. We couldn't have known what was going to happen now.
yeah.
Now we
No
have
idea.
TikTok, and we have all these new platforms coming up, and you don't know what's going to replace what. One day, one of these platforms will be obsolete,
Mhm.
and a new one will be formed. Like we see Spotify coming up for radio's throat, and radio might decide they're no longer like they're at the impasse now. They can be either Netflix or Blockbuster.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think so many current platforms will face that same dilemma, and
I,
we don't know what's gonna come that's gonna be new and change the whole
yeah.
the way we do things.
Yeah. We have no idea. I mean, like, can you imagine? I mean, I remember when all those platforms started coming out. It was around that like 2006 to 2007 2008 time, right? Like everything started coming out and people thought, like, there are some people who thought it was like the silliest thing, like why do we even need these things? But like now it's so ingrained in our daily lives and in our own societies, like it's so important to us. And so yeah, I mean, anything could happen tomorrow. I have no idea what new platforms are going to come out, or how things are going to shift, so it'll be interesting to see all of that, and then to see how fandoms and to see how army adapts to those types of platforms. But yeah, it's all so interesting. Yeah.
Uh,